missing a couple. Daniel. Mr. Moore.
Y'all voting Mr. Moore?
Yeah, I think we're missing Mr. Moore, correct?
Yes, we are. That'd be our only voting member that we're missing.
Yeah, so give him a couple seconds to join back in.
Very good. Mike, is this the point I pick on the attorney and say, where you been? We've all been here. Just kidding.
That would have been funny.
I'm just wondering why you're not in your daughter's bedroom anymore. You got no fun games in the background.
I know, that was our entertainment for every meeting, was to see the background. So,
Stephen. Stephen, do you want to give Al a call real quick and see if we?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe we can bring him in.
Regina, can you call Bob? I mean, can you call Mr. Moore?
I don't see Regina on either.
Yeah, she's on either.
I'll send her a text. Thanks.
So, Madam Chair, maybe we could have Joanne go ahead and keep going, Joanne.
Let's just wait one more minute, Mr. Crum, because I'd hate for Mr. I think if all of, and we have a quorum, but still, I think it would be beneficial to make sure we, don't proceed unless all of the cities are represented.
Very good. Let me see what I can do to help contact him. I'll be right back.
While we're waiting, can I ask a couple of questions?
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely. That would be perfect, Ms. Wilson.
So talking about the privatized model, Pennsylvania model. So with that one, did the localities have to also pay to utilize it, or did they get free access to the internet?
In that particular case, the localities pay for service as well. The funds were put up by the Pennsylvania Turnpike Authority. And it's not anticipated that the commercialization will recompense the Pennsylvania Turnpike Authority. Certainly not in the short to medium term. It'll just serve to somewhat offset their costs. But the Turnpike Authority built the fiber for its internal needs. That was the heart of the business case. They were going to build fiber anyway. And the idea was, if they were doing it, could they also address the needs of the rural digital divide and try to encourage economic development through the availability of that fiber, which they did not want to do themselves. They didn't feel that that was something that was in their mission, or well, it was in their mission, but not their operational capabilities, I would say. It was mission related to that particular function, but it's not the core mission of the Turnpike Authority. The municipalities that are able to leverage it do so through the commercial partner. But they were not funding the network, and they do not get free services on the network. And that's pretty consistent with what we see around the country. We work on multi-entity or even single entity middle mile networks, is that those who are at the table building and funding the capital costs and taking the risk in deploying the network are the ones that see the bulk of the financial benefit, whether that be avoided costs through services that are now developed delivered over this service or revenues.
Obviously, that would be the way. Do you know how big of a project that was and how many miles it was? As far as when I say big, like we're looking at 23 million. What's the cost of that, and maybe in today's dollars, and also the length of it.
Yeah, I don't have the specific numbers in front of me, but the construction costs are, I think, 150 million. It's pretty considerable. And it's the commercialization opportunity is, I believe, 40 years. But I can find all of those numbers and send them to you.
Joanne, we actually have some call right now who was a part of that project, and I don't know, maybe Scott Fairholm from Chesapeake actually was that was where he was prior to coming to Chesapeake, just coincidentally. So I don't know, Scott, do you have any more? I don't want to put you on the spot, but would you by any chance have any?
So the project that I started has gone through a couple of iterations. This last piece is only covering the western part of the state. And so that would be about 150 miles. Now the turnpike is it's a linear asset, right? It's going one way. And so there are some differences to the model here, but we had originally gone to do it along the entire turnpike with a more traditional P3 approach. This model, we had to put the fiber in anyways, so we put it in to use, and the option is, the commercialization comes after the fact. Illinois Turnpike followed a very similar model, and they, after it was built, they leased excess capacity, and it's not it's the approach was to bring in excess revenues, but it was not to cover all our costs because we had an operational necessity anyways. In some respects, that's what we're doing here in Chesapeake as well. We have an operational need for the ring, and the next phase is to discuss how we're going to commercialize the excess capacity.
All right, thank you very much. I hope, Joanne, that it wasn't interrupting your flow. I just thought Scott may be able to provide some insight.
Yeah, that was great, and I'm delighted to find out about that experience with that particular project here within this project team, because I think that's an incredibly important case study and set of lessons learned. And I give the Pennsylvania Turnpike Authority a lot of credit for having tested other models and learning that the economics of them didn't work, moving on to test something new. And that takes insight and persistence. And so I'm delighted to hear that from Scott. And I think actually that's a really nice segue back to my deck. If we are ready, may I go back into the deck, or are we still waiting? I'm happy to wait for as long as you like, but.
Madam Chair, Mr. Moore is back on. Al, thank you for coming back on. I apologize for that hiccup there, but Madam Chair, we have everybody back on, I believe.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect time back to Joanne, so thank you so much.
Thank you. And I say that this is a perfect segue because what the Pennsylvania Turnpike Authority did, and it does not look like I am sharing the right document here. Matt is clearly the engineer on the team, not me. Let me see if I can try this again. No, it's not letting me.
It looked like that looked right to me.
It did? Oh, okay. Then
It was PowerPoint anyway. It was the chart.
It was PowerPoint? Okay. In that case, It's just not letting me see it. I'm going to try one last time. Okay, there we go. I see it now. Are you seeing it as well?
Yep, we are. Looks good.
All right, good. So the reason I say that is a perfect segue is because the Pennsylvania Turnpike Authority, in the first iteration of that project, tested a really interesting model, which is the concessionaire model, or a P3 model, or the kind of P3 that is frequently used in transportation projects by granting a long-term concession to a private entity that then does design, build, construction, operations, and maintenance of an asset that is frequently a public asset, where usually in the past we might have had full public sector execution. This is public ownership of the asset, but private sector execution through all of those different phases. And in the case of the Pennsylvania Turnpike Authority, the model just didn't pan out in terms of the economics of it. And Scott would be able to speak for more experience and data than I, since I've just analyzed this from the outside. But that model has been tested